Now that you have Revit installed on your machine and have it launch, you should be able to open it and it should look something like this. So generally, when you have it open, it shows you your most recent project that you have open. If you're opening it for the first time, it'll come with a pre-downloaded set of sample projects and models and families. And definitely click on these and explore these as you need to. For us, we will actually work with one of the default sample projects. I would recommend going to the website to install it. We can provide this link for you. And right now we're going to work on the RAC, which is Revit Architecture Basic Sample Project. There's also an advanced sample project, which I definitely encourage you to go in and take a look at. But and of course, if this is not on this site, we'll also provide the link ourselves in the download file. So now that you have Revit open, we're going to sort of create our own project. I have a reference project. Once you download this sample project, by the way, which we're going to recreate, you should be able to, I would actually launch a separate session of Revit, which you could just do by clicking it, and it'll do a completely different session of Revit and have it open for your use and for your reference. But for us, we're going to create actually create a new project. And to do that, I can just quickly walk you through what this basic interface is showing you. So before we do that, you see that we also have resources in the default launch menu. It shows you what's new. If you want to go into help, into the forums, or go into the website, which answers a lot of basic questions, shows you what's new with updated versions of Revit, and among other things. It also has a lot of valuable sort of information related to plugins and things like that. You also have the ability to open up a new project, open up a current existing project, or create a new project. Similar, you could do the same with families. So there is a difference between a Revit project and the family, and we will go into that a little bit later. For now, we're going to be focused on creating a project. But for now, I can also let you know that families are essentially just elements that are created separately, generally furniture or things related to annotation, tags, and sheets, but also just 3D modeled elements that are smaller than the architectural elements that can be imported and manipulated upon and imported into a larger 3D model. So now we're going to create a new project. There are multiple ways to do it. You could click on this button here, which allows you to create a new project. And you can also click File and New. And there's also the ability to open a current existing project from this button, as well as here. So there's multiple ways to get to the same result, as you'll often find in Revit. So I will first walk you through what this File tab does. In addition to allowing you to open a new project, you can create a new family, generate conceptual mass or title block or annotation symbol. This default tab also allows you to open existing project family, Revit file, component, among other things, including a sample file. You can also use this button to save. You can also use this button to save. You can export the current view or the model itself into a CAD format, various different formats, and other sorts of data. You could create animations, you can export your schedules, and control other aspects of the building information. You can use this button to print. You can also use this button for printing. And of course, you could close and exit Revit as well here. And you can also use the options button to customize your general Revit experience. This is definitely a more advanced way of going about it, but I definitely would take a look at this and enhance your own customized experience so that you can be very optimal in your use of Revit. So let's now create a new project. So when you create a new project, it first gives you the option to choose a template file, which is, it's a template of different views or different view qualities, line weights, different parameters that are set up within the model that allows you to automatically dive into a project without having to set up all this stuff from scratch. So templates are .rte file format, and you should be able to browse those and find those. Or you can also just create a new project template from scratch here as well. For us, we were just going to use a new project and use a default template. Okay. For the purposes of this course, we're going to use Imperial and give it a little bit of time to think. And you should have sort of a default view created. So, as we go into this, I can also explain some general terminology of what you're seeing here. This is sort of the working view, this white space, and it defaults to sort of a plan view for the very first level, a default level 1. And so to get familiar with some of the terminology that's going to be used, knowing that all of these things that you're seeing around the top here, we call this a ribbon. So if I say we're going to go to the architecture ribbon or structural ribbon or steel ribbon or so on, that's what I'm referring to. And you should be able to click on a certain button. There's also kind of a panel within the ribbon, so maybe the circulation panel under the architecture ribbon, and so on. You also see here on the left that there's a default. There's another series of panels, which is the properties panel and the project browser. You can control that from the views. You can remove that. You can move it around and do a bunch of things, move it to a separate monitor, and so on. So as you're working within this, it gets kind of tricky sometimes to get it to host correctly. But when you're working within properties, it allows you to select various elements, and it gives you the information about that element that you've selected. And so right now it's stuck on the default floor plan and just showing you this view scale that you could control and change. It gives you the display model if you want it to be shown as halftone or so on, and detail level and so on. We'll definitely go much more in depth on visibility graphics and graphics display, which allows you to filter out different things and aspects of the model. So maybe you want to hide a wall or hide all the walls in a view or all of the ceilings. You're able to do that for model categories. You're also able to do that with annotation and imported models where there's CAD or another Revit model. We'll get more into that a little bit later. Also, for the project browser panel, you notice that we have the ability to control all of the different views. So if you want to browse and take a look at all the views that have been created, maybe check out all the floor plans, you'll see that we're here. There's also automatically a ceiling plan generated, a structural plan by default. And as you generate legends and schedules and sheets, that information will also fill out the project browser.